Test, test. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. I don't know why this happens. Test, 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 test. Test. All right, we are ready to go. I was having some audio issues, but we are definitely live, I believe. Right? I cannot pull up my live. Yeah, we're on YouTube. Okay. We're going to do week 3 here. I promise we are going to do this. Okay. There we go. I got the iPad out. There we go. All right, week 3, DraftKings. I had a good week. I've always stressed this. I don't think I'll do anything tonight. I'm not a big showdown guy. I was before. I think it's kind of a sucker bet. You have to play, I think, multiple entries. I'm just going to do this mission here before I forget. Already getting into next week, man. It goes awfully quick. Let's reserve that bad boy. Reserve that bad boy. Hope everyone's having a good start to your week. I know today's Monday. We got 2 NFL games tonight. Okay, so the process. What is the process? What is your process? I'll tell you my process. Track everything. Oh, wow. Upload fail. So, this is something I do tomorrow. Get the Vegas projected scores. I put my scores out. I do home favorites. I like running backs at home this week. You wouldn't, well, Jonathan Taylor would have been good. Ford wouldn't have been good. Tennessee wouldn't have been good. New Orleans, I used. Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Raiders, man, Seattle would have been good. Games I like with the quarterback's projected percentage. I have access to projected percentage. I sign up for Fantasy Labs. I suggest you do as well. It's great. It's a great tool. And one game that I really like, this was the projected ownership of Dak Prescott. I love when public opinion is off a guy. Same with Goff. Highest projected score, low ownership. I think there were a lot of guys to sprinkle in this week. Hurts at 10%, did not like that. Watson, Richardson, and these are all the teams that are going to score. The Houston-Minnesota game was a disappointment, but Darnold, I had a lineup with Darnold in cash. Mayfield, the disappointment. Lamar Jackson, I'll tell you what I did with Lamar. Arizona, I don't think I played. I might have played Murray and something else. That's a good one there. 3.5%. And you kind of knew where the ball was going to Ayuk and Jennings and even Mason. But I'll show you what I did. So cash games, I was up early on Sunday. And this is the final lineup that I went with. I didn't love it as we started because I did something that I don't normally do. And if you normally know what I do, you'll see it in the first spot. I never, ever do this in cash games, is pay up for quarterbacks. Even though it worked for me, this is something, as you mature as a player in DFS, you can say these things. I made the wrong moves, it worked out. But I won't be lucky in other weeks because 126, the reason I cashed was like the top 150, the scores were low. I mean, look at a bunch of duplicated lineups. 113 cashed. Paying up for Hurts. Those 3 running backs is what I originally was going to do. I came off of Charbonnet and went with Cam Akers, and I didn't like it. It stunk to me. I knew he was 4,700, but I had in my head that all he has to do to hit value, you're looking for, I mean, let's see what you're kind of looking for. I shoot for 150 for cash games. I always forget this, right? 3, 6, 9. So you want about that many points per player. Now, that's going to be tough for defense. And, even if you shoot for... But I do. I shoot for 150. So I'm looking for 16, 17 points a player. And your running backs is where you're going to get it. Obviously, because they're touching the ball a lot. Quarterbacks, too. Those are the 4 positions. And I just figured Akers being the guy with the other 2 injuries. And at 4,700... I said to myself, if he gets 50 yards and a touchdown and a couple of catches, that's about 15 points at 4,700. But here's the thing. Houston was not at home, and Charbonnet was against a bad Miami team. I had no doubts Seattle was going to win. Did I have doubts about Houston winning? Absolutely. So that should solve your question in cash games when picking running backs. You like guys at home. Guys are favored. And I took 2 guys on the road that didn't really finish great. If you look at Mason, but look at the percentage. In this double up, 344 entries, 84% owned. So I don't mind eating that chalk. Kamara was chalk at home. Didn't have a great game. And, Akers somewhat was chalk. I wonder what... you don't ever start McGraw. I know that worked, but Charbonnet... was 41% on. So it was kind of split between Charbonnet and Akers, but I still don't think it was the right move. But here's where I'm conflicted. Because I feel like if I paid up for Charbonnet, what would I have done at receiver? Would I have gotten off of Johnson and went higher? Because I would have paid down at quarterback, which you could have paid. I mean, let's see if DK Live. This keeps track of the sports. This is great. So Lamar was the 4th highest, but look at Malik Willis at 5,000. Look at Caleb Williams. So the reason you don't often pay down at quarterback is that you can find someone usually within that range that's so much cheaper. So even though Lamar had a great game, right? I could have gone to. I mean, look at Darnold, Williams, Willis. Rodgers was in the slate. Daniel Jones, Fields, Nix, Watson, Levis. Even. I mean, I would have lost 9 points with Levis, but it would have got me up to, if I wanted to go to 6,200. See, this was my dilemma. I don't think I saw a 6,200 quarterback I liked. Now, Brock Purdy was pretty damn good. But if I went to, I was going to play Deshaun Watson. So if I went to Watson and lost 7, I would have gained 15 here. That's plus 8, right? Kept everything the same. I would have had more to spend on defense. Look at the Packers, who I used last week. So I could have got up to 150, but it didn't work. It worked. In my cash game, I cashed everywhere. So that was my thought process. I mean, I love Kamara, I love Mason, and I just thought Akers at that price. Then for receiver, I ate chalk here. Godwin was not as highly owned. I had Neighbors in my player pool. I should have played him. I just went with Godwin because he's been a target monster. Not that highly owned. I knew Smith would be highly owned. And then Deontay Johnson was the key for me this week. He's the guy. If you look at the 4 o'clock games, I had Lamar, Johnson. What is that? I think 55 points right there. And Mason. So I had 65 points. I was at 61 after the 1 o'clock games, and I was not cashing anywhere. I think I had like $4. And then this really won me the look at that, 14 targets. And I don't know what he's priced at this week, and we'll go check that. But I saw something online that said, I read this article that said, wait till you see the game he's going to have. And this guy predicted 100 yards and a touchdown, and man, he was right. So that was an easy play for me. This is where I struggle usually is this, usually a third receiver and that third running back. So, but it worked out, and I'm happy. I had a late surge in one of my cash games. I mean tournaments. One thing I've got to stop doing is playing so many guys. I play way too many stacks, and I'm just giving away scores. I love Dak the whole time, and I should have sat with that. Dak was my quarterback for tournaments. I kind of knew. I had a feeling, and plus, I just thought with the game scripts and him being low-owned that this was such a good spot for him. And in a $5 buy-in, I think it was a $5 buy-in, I did it. Dak was on one of my expensive. Why can't I find it now? God, this is annoying. Doesn't look like I can. No. Top prize. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Is it on the first page? Yeah, this one. Single entry. I try to do low entries. This is my strategy for a lot of my tournaments. That's high for me, is to do that many. That's all I do. I don't do massive tournaments. I do single entries. And this lineup gained a lot of steam at the 4 o'clock games. And let's see how far I was off from like. So First place paid $500. Okay, so let's compare lineups. So I'll show you what I did, my process. I love Dak. I wanted to, with Lamb, I thought I needed to go cheaper. I went Tolbert as the other one, and this had a run back of Derrick Henry. Game script, high points. This stack went exactly the way I wanted. Tolbert for 3,800, not horrible. Another touchdown would have been great. I went with White. Probably should have gone a White Johnson stack, a secondary stack. I don't think I did. I did a secondary stack of Diggs and Naylor. Not bad. I mean, Diggs almost got us the bonus. Naylor got a touchdown. Did Goddard on his own. He smashed. Colts smashed. White and Lamb killed me, which I liked. Look at this lineup. He did what's called a skinny stack. That means he only stacked with one. I usually do two. He went Purdy and Jennings. Got off the Ayuk chalk. That was perfect. Then he stacked Bowers and Myers without a Carolina run back. That's interesting. Seahawks defense at home made sense. Cooper on his own. I mean, he's a lot of it's hard to do that. Good lineup, and that was my best GPP lineup of the day. Let's see what. Oh, by the way, I want to show you my fantasy team. I think I drafted the best fantasy team I've ever drafted. The Hood Rats. Look at my score with the Buffalo defense and Bass. It's a PPR league. A keeper. I kept Kyron Williams in the 10th round, but that's my Lamar, Diggs, Rice, Taylor, Barkley, Pitts. That's a good team. I bench Charbonnet, Ridley, who hasn't been good, Eckler, Goddard, Bucky Irving, Quentin Johnson. And I'm going to beat this guy by the most points ever in our league. Let's see what... I'm interested to see what Carolina... Are they on the main slate? I don't even know. I have a feeling that... he is going to be expensive. Okay. He is 5,600. That's still pretty good. At home against Cincinnati, I think everybody is going to be all over him. And then depending on what happens now, is Jennings a cash game guy? Possibly. That's a lot of targets. 12 targets. Look at that. a 50 burger. Boy, 4,100. He brought back about 12 times value. Insane. I think I had one cash game that I really liked. So you look at this slate for cash games, all right? As you just kind of drift down, like these options down here aren't bad. And I think I found my cash game. Caleb Williams at home against the Rams. It's a bad Rams team. But he put up good points last week. I think that's a pretty good cash game play at 5,600. Justin Fields in Indy, maybe. Even Watson. I like the rushing yardage Watson gives. Pittsburgh, I don't really like their offense. I don't know about Andy Dalton he doesn't have any rushing ability. Will he throw 3 touchdowns against Cincinnati? I don't know. Malik Willis at home, but it's against Minnesota. Still, more GPP. I think if you're looking for a solid floor as well, there's some good options in here. Even Kirk Cousins. But I do like guys with a little rushing upside. Watson might be a guy I go to next week. Some running backs. Barkley on the road. I would expect him to be highly owned. We'll see what value, comes about next week as we get closer to Sunday. Where is Mason at? He went up a little bit. Roddy White's time. Let's see where Bucky White is. Is he even down here? What is he listed at? Right? Am I not? What am I missing here? Bucky Irving. Oh my God. 5,300. 9 rushes, 3 catches. We'll see if something happens here and White is not the starter anymore and they say that Irving could get more touches. That's a possibility, but we'll see. I'm trying to think, looking at this. Don't love a lot of these running back. I do like Connor. Did he go up? 6,500 at home. I know last week didn't work against the Lions, but they're a good defense. Could be a GPP play. So we'll see. Their options. All right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.